Hey, what's up guys, it's me your boy Oroban Kevinish back here with another brand new video and I hope you guys are having a great day. So we are here for the Monaco Grand Prix and I'm here to do the prediction for the Monaco Grand Prix weekend. So without any further ado, let's get right into the video guys. So let's start off with the top 3 qualifiers. For P3 I have Fernando Alonso. Yep, I think Fernando will be right up there and I think the battle for the pole position is going to be closer than it ever was so far this season, because I feel like this track would suit Aston Martin because the car is usually pretty draggy. So I expect Fernando Alonso to be closer to the Red Bulls here in Monaco because that's what he's been saying since the Miami Grand Prix. So I expect for Aston Martin to put up a strong fight for pole position, but I feel like the Red Bulls would have the slight edge over the Aston. So I think Fernando Alonso is gonna qualify P3. So for pole position, I have Max Verstappen. Yep, I think he's gonna have the edge over Fernando Alonso. He is so good at qualifying. I think he's the second best driver in terms of one lap pace next to Charles Leclerc, but I feel like Charles would not have the car underneath him this weekend. I just don't think the SF23 is as good as the F175 was last season, so I expect Red Bull to take the pole position with Max Verstappen. So for P2 I have Sergio Perez. Yes, I think Checo will start second alongside Max and I think it will be a front row lockout for Red Bull Racing. Checo usually has brilliant pace around street tracks, and considering that he won the race last year, I expect for him to be on pace and on pace with Max Verstappen, and he's going to start P2. So moving on to the big gainers of the weekend. So for the team who I think is going to have the biggest gains this weekend, I think it's going to be Mercedes. I think they're going to make some huge strides compared to where they were in the last 5 rounds. Considering they're going to bring a huge upgrade for the Monaco Grand Prix, which was actually due for them to bring for the Imola Grand Prix. But as you guys know, the Imola Grand Prix was cancelled due to the heavy rains that they had during the planned race weekend. So the planned upgrades are going to take place in Monaco. So I expect Mercedes to make the best out of this weekend. And moving on to the driver who I think is going to make the biggest gain this weekend, I think it's going to be Fernando Alonso. Yep, I think this is going to be the track in which the Aston Martin is really going to shine in the hands of Fernando Alonso. And yeah, I think there is a huge potential, and if there's one person who's going to unlock that huge potential and maximize his result, it's going to be Fernando Alonso. So I feel like the big gainers in terms of driver for this weekend, it's going to be Fernando Alonso. So now moving on to the biggest flop of the weekend. Well, in terms of teams, I have Williams. Yep, the car is good on a straight line, but Monaco is not a track that is too much reliant on the straight line speed. It's a track that is mostly filled with a lot of corners, so I expect Williams to be on a back foot this weekend. And I feel like the biggest flop of the weekend for the team, it's going to be Williams. So now moving on to the driver who I think is going to be the biggest flop of the weekend in terms of performance, I think it's going to be Oscar Piastri. Yep, apart from the obvious other two, which is Logan Sargent and Nick De Vries, I feel like Oscar Piastri is going to be having the tough or the rough weekend in Monaco because it is a street track, he's a rookie, so, and again it's also expected to rain this weekend. So I expect Oscar Piastri to have a tough time considering he's a rookie. So moving on to my bold predictions now. So the first bold prediction that I have is there's going to be a 4-way team battle for the race win. Okay, hear me out. So Red Bull are the obvious favorite for the race win. But I feel like Ferrari, Aston Martin and Mercedes are going to be right up there, and there's going to be some huge strategical gamble that the teams are going to make, which is going to shuffle up the grid for the top 6. So I feel like there's going to be a serious battle for the race win here in Monaco, though the track is just too hard to overtake. But I feel like something's gonna happen during the pit stop phases, which is gonna switch up the race head on its tail. So I really hope that this prediction comes true, because it's gonna make the race so much more interesting to watch. And the second bold prediction that I have is a red flag in the race. Yep, it's a wet race. We have 3 rookie drivers. A crash around Monaco is something that I feel like is inevitable. So a red flag is very much possible. So I feel like a red flag during the race is my second bold prediction. So moving on to my third bold prediction, which is McLaren to have a disastrous weekend yet again. So McLaren has been a bit on and off this season so far with the 5 rounds that we've seen. It's either they are there in the points, fighting for points, on pace, on merit, or they're just not. And I feel like this track is going to be another one in which they're just not going to be in fight for points, and they're just going to be lingering somewhere in the top 15. So I feel like McLaren is going to have another horrendous weekend to continue with. So now moving on to my podium finishes. So let's start off with P3. I have Max Verstappen. Yes, as I said, I feel like there's going to be a shuffle during the pit stop phases. And as I said, I feel like there's going to be a 4-way battle for the race win in my bold predictions. So I feel like the fight for the race win is going to be tight, and I feel like during the pit stop phases, Max would lose the race lead, and I feel like he's going to finish P3. So moving on to the race winner now. Well, I have Fernando Alonso as the race winner for the Monaco Grand Prix. Yep, it's very much possible, guys. If someone who could do it, it is Fernando Alonso. And I feel like the Aston Martin is also not that bad of a car, and considering that he has finished in podium places in 4 out of the 5 rounds so far, it further reinforces my confidence on Fernando Alonso. Monaco is a track which is going to suit the Aston Martin car, and I feel like Fernando Alonso would give it everything he's got to get that race win. So yep, I feel like Fernando Alonso is going to be the winner of the Monaco Grand Prix. So now moving on to P2 now. I have Sergio Perez. Yes, I feel like Sergio Perez would have the upper hand over Max Verstappen during the race, and I feel like his pace would just give him that little bit of an edge during the pit stop phases to overtake Max Verstappen during the pit stop phases. So I think Sergio Perez is going to comfortably finish second in the race, which is also the position in which I predict for Sergio Perez to start the race. So yeah, that is my top 3 podium finishes, guys. And that is also my Monaco Grand Prix prediction. So let me know in the comments on what you thought of my prediction, and also let me know in the comments on who you think is going to be the top 3 qualifiers. Who do you think is going to have the biggest gains, biggest flop? And also let me know what is your bold prediction and the top 3 podium finishes. So yeah, with that being said, I would like to wrap up this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to the Autobahncast YouTube channel if you haven't already. And also hit that bell icon and turn on all notifications so you get notified whenever I upload a brand new video. It's me, your boy Autobahncast, aka Vinesh, and I'm out. Love you guys. Stay safe. Peace.